Myself, Akhilesh Kumar Maurya, Associate Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, Babu Banarsi Das University, Lucknow. This is the fifth lecture of the Basic Electronics Engineering of Module First, that is Diodes. Today in this lecture, I will discuss the full wave rectifier and bridge rectifier and some numerical problems depending on the rectifiers. Full wave rectifiers. What is the full wave rectifiers? The full wave rectifiers conducts during the both positive and negative half cycles of input AC supply. Input AC supply. In order to rectify both the half cycles of AC input, there are two diodes are used in this circuit. Here we can see the diode 1 and diode 2. There are two diodes are used. The diodes feed a common load RL, this load RL, with the help of a center tap transformer. This is the center tap transformer. The AC voltage is applied through a suitable power transformer with the proper turn ratio. That is N1 ratio N2. The operation of the full wave rectifier. Consider the positive half cycle of the AC input voltage. Here there are two half cycles. This is the positive half cycles and this is the negative half cycles. So consider the positive half cycle. This half cycles means consider this positive half cycles of the AC input voltage in which the terminal A, here the terminal A is positive and terminal B, this terminal B will be negative due to the center tap transformer. Then in this case means during the positive half cycles the diode D1 will be forward bias and hence will conduct. Then this diode will be on and the diode D2 will be reverse biased and will act as an open circuit. Then this diode D2 will be off. The diode D1 supplies the load current, that is IL is equal to ID1, because here the current flowing through this diode D1 and the diode D2 is off. So there is no current flow through this diode D2. Okay, see this. When the diode D2 is off, then the current flow through the diode D1 and follow this path, this through RL and this and through this center tap and this path follow by the current. In the next half cycle of the AC voltage, the polarity reverses and the terminal A becomes negative. Here you can see there are two terminals, terminal A and terminal B. Then during negative half cycles, this terminal A becomes negative and terminal B becomes positive. Then the diode D2 conducts and diode D2 conducts, so diode D2 will be on and diode D1 does not conduct, so diode D1 will be off during the negative half cycles. Then this is case this. Here the diode D2 is in on case and diode D1 will be off. So in this case the diode D2 supplies the load current, that is IL is equal to ID2. The load current flows in both the half cycles of AC voltage in the same direction through the load resistance. Hence we get rectified output across the load. The load current in sum of individual diode currents flowing in corresponding half cycles, it is also noted that the two diodes do not conduct simultaneously but in alternate half cycles. So, the individual diode currents and the load current are shown in this graph here. In this cycles, the diode D1 is on and diode D2 off, and the next diode D2 on, D1 on, and next D1 on, D2 off, D1 off and D2 on, and so on. So for this, here we obtain the load current IM, this here for the positive half cycles, and again for the negative half cycles, when the diode D2 is on, then we get this cycle. This output means this output is obtained here. This output is obtained when the diode D1 is on, and this output is obtained when diode D2 is on. So the total output is obtained this, and this is for the current and this is for the load voltage. So this is the output from the full wave rectifier circuit. The output load current is still pulsating DC and not pure DC. Now, the maximum load current, let RF, here RF is the forward resistance of the diodes. Here two diodes are used, D1 and D2. So the D1 and D2, its forward resistance, that is the RF, and RL is the load resistance. RS is the winding resistance of each half secondary diode. ESM is the maximum value of AC input voltage across each half of secondary winding. Here you can see here are the two half of the secondary winding because of the center tapping. So each half of the secondary winding has the maximum value of the AC input ES. Yeah, this is the maximum value of the AC input voltage across each half of the secondary winding, this and this, across this and across this. This is the ESM. Now hence we can write the expression for the maximum value of the load current is IM is the ESM upon RS plus RF plus RL. This is I is equal to V by R. So total value of the R, that is the binding resistance, that is the winding resistance plus forward resistance plus load resistance RL. Consider one cycle of the load current IL from 0 to pi to obtain the average value, which is the DC value of the load current, that is the IL is equal to Im psi omega t, that is in between omega, that is in between here omega t is greater than or equal to 0 and is less than or equal to pi. So the average value of the DC current here are average value are the DC value of the current. So we integrate this 1 by pi 0 to pi IL d omega t. We know that the IL is the Im sin omega t d omega t. So here we integrate the sin omega t. Here Im is acts as a constant, so Im is taken from out of the integration. So Im upon pi, and integration of sin omega t is the minus of cos omega t, and limit from 0 to pi. So put the value of the limit, then it will be minus cos pi minus of minus cos 0, and put the value of the cos pi and cos 0, then this will be Im by pi in bracket 1 plus 1. So here you can say this will be 2 Im by pi. This is a 1 plus 1, So this value is 2. So IDC is equal to 2 Im by pi. Again, the average value of the voltage or average DC load voltage EDC. We know that the E is equal to EDC is equal to IDC into RL. You know that according to the Ohm's law, V is equal to I into R. So EDC is equal to IDC into RL. Then put the value of the IDC here. Then we obtain the 2 Im into RL by pi. Substituting the value of Im here, from here this Im, put this value of Im here, then we get the EDC equal to 2 ESM RL upon pi into RF plus RS plus RL. Here this RL is here, we divide the RL in numerator and denominator, then we obtain this. If the RF and RS both are very less than RL, it means RF plus RL both are very less than if RS plus RF is very less than RL, then this is obtained. It means the RF plus RS upon RL is very less than 1. Then this equations will be EDC equal to 2 ESM upon pi. So this is the DC value of the current and this is the DC value of the voltage. Now the RMS load current, that is the IRMS, root mean square value of the load current. Here mathematically we can obtain this value. IRMS is equal to under root 1 upon 2 pi integration from 0 to 2 pi IL square d of omega t. Put the value of IL here, put the value of IL. So Im sin omega t का whole square d of omega t. We break up Im here, Im square into sin square omega t. We take them Im square, the root of Im square, this will be Im. So here the Im under root 1 by pi from 0 to pi sin square omega t d of omega t. Here this sin square omega t, that will be converted into 1 minus cos 2 of omega t by 2, because we know that the cos 2 omega t is equal to 1 minus 2 sin square omega t. This is the basic formula. So from here we can write the sin square omega t equal to 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. From here we can write the sin square omega t is equal to 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. So here this sin square omega t can be written 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2, and again integrate this value. So we obtain the omega t by 2 and minus sin 2 omega t by 4 and from limit 0 to pi. Put the value of the limit, then we obtain the IRMS equal to Im under root 1 by pi and in bracket pi by 2. So pi cancel, then we get the IRMS equal to Im by root 2, and hence the RMS value of the load voltage, this RMS value of the load voltage ERMS is equal to IRMS into RL. Put the value of the IRMS, so Im by under root 2 into RL. This is the RMS value of the load voltage. Now DC power output, that is a PDC. DC power output, we know that the power is equal to V into I square into R. So this basic formula is applied here. The PDC, DC power output equal to EDC into IDC, that will be the IDC square into RL. So put the value of the IDC, so 2 Im by pi, this is the value of the IDC, 2 Im by pi का होल स्क्वायर and into RL. So here we can write the, again put the value of the Im, sorry, here put the value of the Im, put the value of the Im, that is the ESM upon RS plus RF plus RL. Then we obtain the 4 upon pi square Im square into RL. Instead of the remaining this formula, here this expressions I square DCRL to calculate the PDC while they solving the problems. Now AC power input, that is the PAC. This AC power input PAC is the IRMS, because at the input the value of the current is, that is the RMS value, that's the RMS value. So we take the RMS value of the current. So PAC is equal to IRMS whole square plus into RS plus RF plus RL, because at the input side there are the total value of the resistance, that is the RS plus RF plus RL. So we take the PAC is equal to IRMS whole square into this total resistance. So put the value of the IRMS, then this will be the Im by root 2 ka whole square into this total resistance RS plus RF plus RL. Then we get the this Im square into RF plus RS plus RL by 2. This is the PAC, and again put the value of the Im, that will be the ESM upon RS plus RF plus RL. So put the value of Im in the term of the voltage, then we get this and multiply by remaining term. So finally we get the PAC equal to ESM square upon 2 into RS plus RF plus RL. Now rectifier efficiency, that is defined the output DC power to the, that is the ratio of the output DC power to the input AC power. The rectifier efficiency is defined the ratio of the output DC power to the input AC power. So and it is noted by the eta. So eta is equal to PDC output upon PAC input. So we put the value of the PAC input and PDC output. Here PAC input, and here we obtain the PDC output. So put these two values here in this ratio. So finally here we obtain the 8 RL upon pi square into RF plus RS plus RL. But we know that the RS plus RF is very less than RL. So this value RF plus RS in comparison of RL, that can be neglected. So we get the eta is equal to 8 RL upon pi square into RL. So RL cancel, so eta is equal to 8 upon pi square, and in percentage of eta, percentage maximum, the 81.2%, it means 8 upon pi square into multiply by 100, 8 upon pi square multiply by 100, this term is will be the 81.2%. So the maximum efficiency of the full wave rectifier is the 81.2%. This is the maximum efficiency of the full wave rectifier. Now the term ripple factor. The ripple factor is given by the general formula. Ripple factor is equal to under root IRMS upon IDC ka whole square minus 1. Or again this IRMS upon IDC, this is also known as the form factor, or we can say the ripple factor is equal to under root form factor square minus 1, or we can directly use this formula IRMS under root IRMS upon IDC ka whole square minus 1. So here we put the value of the IRMS and IDC. So after putting these values, we get the ripple factor is equal to under root pi square upon 8 minus 1, and after solving these values we get the 0.48. So 0.48, the value of the ripple factor, it means 0.48, but in percentage multiply by 100, then we obtain the 48%. So the ripple factor is 48% for the full wave rectifier. So this indicates that the ripple contains in the output are 48% of the DC component, which is much less than that for the half wave circuit. Okay, now is it clear? This ripple factor for the full wave rectifier indicates the 48% of the DC components, which is very less than in comparison to the half wave rectifier circuit. Now the peak inverse voltage, we know that the peak inverse voltage is obtained during the reverse bias conditions. So when the diode is reverse biased, then full transformer secondary voltage gets impressed across it. The drop across the conducting diode is assumed 0. So thus the peak value of the inverse voltage to which diode gets subjected is voltage across both the parts of the transformer secondary. This is shown here. We can see the diode D1, the diode D2. We know that during the positive half cycles, either negative half cycles, positive half cycles or negative half cycles. During the positive half cycles or negative half cycles, only one diode is on and one diode is off. So if you consider the positive half cycles, then here the diode D1 is on and diode D2 is off, means the diode D2 is reverse biased. So the peak inverse voltage appears on this diode across this diode D2. It can be seen that when D2 is reverse biased, then the point A is at this point A. Here the point A is at minus, here the point A, here the point B. So the point A is at minus ESM with respect to the ground, while the point B is the positive ESM with respect to the ground, neglecting the diode drop. So thus the peak value of the voltage across the diode D2, that will be the 2ESM, whereas this is for the half wave rectifier is only ESM. But here in the case of the full wave rectifier, this is a 2 ESM. It means the peak inverse voltage, PIV, peak inverse voltage for the full wave rectifier, that is the 2 ESM. Now the transformer utilization factor. In full wave rectifier, the secondary current flows through the secondary current flow through the each half separately in every half cycles, while the primary of the transformer carrier current continuously. Hence transformer utilization factor is calculated for primary and secondary windings separately, and then the average transformer utilization factor is determined. The secondary transformer utilization factor, secondary TUF, that is the equal to the ratio of the DC power to the load upon AC power rating of the secondary. DC power to the load upon AC power rating of secondary. So IDC square RL upon E RMS into IRMS. So put the value of IDC and IE RMS. So after putting the values, we get the secondary TUF. After calculating all these terms, we obtain the secondary TUF, secondary transformer utilization factor, is the 0.812. Now the primary of the transformer is feeding two half wave rectifiers separately. These two half wave rectifiers work independently of each other but feed a common load. The transformer utilization factor for half wave circuit to be equal to 0.287. Hence the transformer utilization factor for the primary winding, hence the transformer utilization factor for the primary winding. Here we can see transformer utilization factor for the primary winding. This will be the 2 into TUF of the half wave circuit, that is 2 into 0.287. So the average TUF, so now the average TUF that will be the TUF of the primary plus TUF of the secondary upon 2. And after putting these values, we get the average TUF for the full wave rectifier circuit, that is the 0.693. This is the average transformer utilization factor for full wave rectifier. Now, the advantages and disadvantages of full wave rectifier. The advantages of full wave rectifiers are the DC load voltage and current are more than half wave. Second is the no DC current through transformer winding, hence no possibility of saturation. Third advantage are the transformer utilization factor is better as transformer losses are less. Fourth point is the efficiency is higher. Fifth point is the large DC power output, and sixth point is the ripple factor is less. These are the advantages of the full wave rectifier. Now the disadvantages of the full wave rectifier are the peak inverse voltage, that is PIV rating of the diode is higher. Second disadvantage is higher PIV diodes are larger in size and costlier. So the cost of the center tap transformer is high. The cost of the center tap transformer is high. Now, next topic is the bridge rectifier. The bridge rectifier. The basic bridge rectifier circuit is shown here. Here we can see. This is the basic bridge rectifier circuit. The bridge rectifier circuit is essentially a full wave rectifier circuit. I am saying the bridge rectifier circuit is essentially a full wave rectifier circuit using 4 diodes. Here we can see diode 1, diode 2, diode 3 and diode 4. There are 4 diodes using. They forming the 4 arms of an electrical bridge. To one diagonal of the bridge, the AC voltage is applied through the transformer if necessary, and the rectified DC voltage is taken from the other diagonal of the bridge. Here, you see this. The main advantage of this circuit is that it does not require a center tap on the secondary winding of the transformer. Now, the operation of the full wave rectifier circuit. Again, here there are two cycles. First, the positive half cycles, and second is the negative half cycles. So now consider the positive half cycles of the AC input voltage. Then the point A, here the point A and point B. So the point A of the secondary becomes positive. Then the diode D1 and D2 will be forward bias. Here the diode D1 and D2, it will be the forward bias. And the diode D3 and diode D4, these two diodes are reverse bias. So then in this case the diode D1 and D2 are on and diode D3 and D4 are off. So the diode D1 and D2 are conducts in series with the load, and the currents flow as shown here. We can see the path of the current. Here the path of the current, this through the diode D1 and through the load, and then again through the diode D2 and then through the secondary transformer, and again through this path follow. So a closed path is obtained. So this is the path of the current. Now in the next half cycles, means during the negative half cycles, the polarity of the AC voltage reverse. Then in this case the point V becomes positive, in this becomes positive, and the points A becomes negative. This can be better understood by this diagram. Here during the negative half cycles, during the negative half cycles the point B becomes positive and point A becomes negative. Then in this case the diode D3 and D4 are forward biased while the diode D1 and D2 are reverse biased. Now the diode D3 and D4 conducts in series with the load and the current are shown here. We can see clearly the path of the current here the current. Now here the current is follow this path from, let we take them starting from terminal B. So from B to diode D3 and through the RL and through the RL like this and through the D4 and again through the secondary transformer and the circuit, and the closed path will be complete. So the current flow like this. It is seen that in both the cycle of AC the load current is flowing in the same directions, hence we get a full wave rectified output. We get a full wave rectified output. Now the waveform of the load current and voltage is here. The waveform further, this is the input and this is the when the diode D1 and diode D2 is on, then we obtain this output, and when the diode D3 and D4 is on, then we obtain this output. So the total output of the load current is for the bridge rectifier is this, and this is for the load voltage. Now the expressions for the various parameter. The expressions for the various parameter here. All the expressions are the same, but some are different from the full wave rectifiers, because the bridge rectifier is essentially a full wave rectifier circuits, but instead of the two diodes there are 4 diodes. So near about all the expressions are same, but some are different. So discuss here what are the different. The bridge rectifier circuits being basically a full wave rectifier circuit. So all the derivations that is discussed in full wave rectifier circuit using the 2 diodes are applicable for a bridge rectifier circuit. The expression for IM will be changed slightly. So this will be clear from the equivalent circuit. Here you can see in each half cycle the 2 diodes conducts simultaneously, whereas in full wave rectifier only 1 diodes are conducts in each half cycles, whereas in bridge rectifier circuits there are 2 diodes conducts simultaneously. In each half cycles there are 2 diodes conducts simultaneously. So hence the maximum value of the load current is ESM upon RS plus 2RF plus RL here, whereas for the full wave rectifier IM is equal to ESM upon RS plus RF plus RL. So here RS plus RF plus RL, but here instead of the RF here we use the 2RF. Why? Because of the 2 diodes for each cycles will be conduct. So the only modification is that instead of RF, which is the forward resistance of each diode, the term 2RF appears in the denominator. We can see here in the denominator the 2RF appears. Now the peak inverse rating of the diodes is ESM, whereas this is a 2 ESM gets divided equally across the 2 diodes. Since we know that in the case of the full wave rectifier the peak inverse voltage is 2 ESM, but in this case because of the 2 diodes the 2 ESM gets divided equally across the 2 diodes, so the peak inverse voltage rating of the diodes is ESM. Now the remaining expressions are identical to those derived for the two diodes full wave rectifier and reproduced for the convenience of the reader or the for the students or for any readers. So that is the EDC. EDC is the IDC into RL, that is also obtained the 2ESM upon pi. PDC, that is also IDC square into RL, so that will be the 4 upon pi square into IM square upon RL. PAC is just like as for the full wave rectifier, IRMS into RS plus 2RF, but instead of the RF here we use the 2RF in PAC. Now efficiency is again obtained the 81.2 because the RS plus RF is again very less than in compared to the RL. So RS plus RF, 2RF, RS plus RF is neglected and RF plus RS plus 2RF is also neglected as in comparison to RL. So the efficiency is again we obtain the 81.2% and ripple factor is 0.48% and transformer utilization factor, here the transformer utilization factors will be increased, that will be the 0.812. Here we see the transformer utilization factor increases. The ESM is maximum value of the AC voltage across the full secondary winding of the transformer used. Now the advantages of this bridge rectifier is the current in both the primary and secondary of the power transformer flows for the entire cycles, and hence for a given power output the power transformer of a small size and less cost may be used. And second point is the no center type is required in the transformer secondary. And the third point is the currents in the secondary of the transformer are in opposite directions in two half cycles, hence net DC component flowing is 0, which reduce the losses and danger of saturation. And next point is the next advantage of the bridge rectifier is as two diodes conduct in series in each half cycles, so inverse voltage appear across the diode gets shared, hence the circuit can be used for high voltage applications, and also the transformer gets utilized effectively because of the high TUF. Here because of the high TUF the transformer gets utilized effectively. Now some numerical problems based on the rectifier. Here a half wave rectifier with RL that is equal to 1 kilo ohm is given an input of 10 volt peak from step down transformer. Calculate DC voltage and load current for ideal and silicon diode. Here there are two cases, the ideal and silicon diode. So the given values is RL that is equal to 1 kilo ohm, and here the given the input of 10 volt peak, so VM is the 10 volt peak. So case first, when we take the ideal conditions, we know that for the ideal conditions there is a cut-in voltage is 0 and the forward resistance of the diode is also 0. So we take the V0 is equal to 0 and RF is equal to 0 in this case. Then the DC voltage EDC that is equal to, from the half wave rectifier we know that the EDC is equal to VM upon pi. So put the value of VM, that is the 10 by pi, so 3.18 volt. This is the DC value. And also the IDC, that is the load current is the EDC by RL. I is equal to V by R. So IDC is equal to EDC by RL. Put the value of the EDC, so 3.18 by RL. We know that the RL is equal to 1 kilo ohm. So 3.18 upon 10 power 3. 1 kilo ohm means 10 power 3 ohm. Then this will be the 3.18 milliampere. Now we take the second case. the silicon diode. For the silicon diode, we know that the cut-in voltage is the 0.7 volt. So EDC, that EDC is the DC voltage will be Vm minus 0.7, Vm minus cut-in voltage upon pi. So 10 minus 0.7 upon pi, that will be the 2.96 volt. And also the IDC, the load current is the IDC upon RL, that is obtained the 2.96 milliampere. Now next question is, if the required DC output voltage is 9 volt, assuming the ideal diodes, calculate the AC RMS input voltage required in the following case. First, for the half wave rectifier, and second is for the full wave rectifier, that is also called the center tap full wave rectifier. Here the given data is 9 volt DC output voltage, that is the EDC. So given data is EDC is the 9 volt. We take the ideal case. So we know that for the ideal diodes, the cut-in voltage is 0 and the forward resistance of the diode is 0. So for the first case, for the half wave rectifier, we know that the DC voltage that is the ESM upon pi. So ESM will be EDC into pi. So put the value of EDC, that is the 9 into pi. So this will be the 28.27343 volt. And ESM RMS, that is the RMS value of the voltage, that is the, we know that the RMS value of the voltage, that is the ESM upon under root 2. So put the value of the ESM and then we get the RMS value of the voltage is 19.9929 volt. So this is the case first. And now for the center tap full wave rectifier, again we know that the EDC, the DC value of the voltage, that is a 2 ESM upon pi. So put the value of the EDC, so 2 here, put the value of this, and so from this equations we can write the ESM equal to pi into EDC upon pi. So put the value of the EDC, so pi into 9 by 2, and we get the 14.1371 volt. Now the RMS value of the voltage is ESM by root 2, that will be the 9.9964 or nearly 10 volt. So this is the required AC RMS voltage on input side from either end of the secondary to center tap. Thus the transformer secondary rating must be 10 volt, 0 to 10. Now next question is, a full wave rectifier circuit, is supplied from 230 volt 50 hertz and uses a transformer of turn ratio of 15:1. So it uses load resistance of 50 ohm. Calculate the load value, load voltage and ripple voltage. Assume ideal diode and transformer. Assume standard value of ripple factor for full wave rectifier. Here according to the given data, the RMS value, that is the 230 volt. This is the supply voltage 230 volt 50 hertz. 230 volt 50 hertz. In this 230 volt is the RMS value on the primary voltage, on the primary binding. So this is the RMS value on the primary binding. So this is the RMS value, that is the 230 volt. We know that the N2 upon N1, that is equal to V2 by V1. So this is given 1 by 15. Here given the ratio 15 by 1. So N1 upon N2, that is given the ratio V1 by V2. From this relationship we can say this N1 by N2 is equal to 15 by 1. So N2 by N1 is equal to 1 by 15. Now and RL, here given in this questions, the RL is equal to load resistance is the 50 ohm. This is the given data. And RF and RS, this is a 0 ohm as the for the ideal diode. So EP by ES, this is the N1 by N2, and from this relationship we can write the ES on the ES RMS, that is the RMS value of the secondary voltage, RMS value of the secondary voltage, that is the N2 by N1 into EP. So put the values 1 by 15 into 230 volt, that will be 15.333 volt. So ESM, that will be equal to under root 2 ESM RMS value. So this will be the 21.684 volt. Now the IM, you know that the IM for the bridge rectifier, that is the ES upon RS plus 2RF plus RL, here because of 2 diode for each cycles we use the 2 RF. So putting the values, all the values, we get the 0.4336 ampere, and IDC, we know that the IDC for the bridge rectifier is the 2 IM by pi. So put the value of the IM, and then we get the IDC value is the 0.276 ampere, and then the load voltage, that is the DC, is the equal to IDC into RL. So put the value of the IDC and RL, then we get the 13.8 volt. So now the ripple factor for full wave rectifier, that is a 0.482. So ripple factor, that is here obtained from ripple factor formula. The ripple factor is equal to AC RMS output upon DC output, that is the ripple voltage upon E DC. So put the value of ripple factor, that is 0.482 equal to ripple voltage upon 13.8. So from this we can write the ripple voltage equal to 13.8 into 0.482, that is the 6.6516 volt. Thank you.